In the far reaches of the Andromeda sector, where the stars are sparse and the silence of space is deafening, a rumor began to swell across the interstellar channels. Something about the humans and their offspring that set even the fiercest warriors on edge. Commander Zelthrax of the Creel Alliance hovered over his control panel, his mandibles twitching with annoyance. The latest reports were in, and they were all but unbelievable. The Creel were known across the galaxy for their fearlessness in battle, their unmatched strategic minds, and their disdain for the weaker species. Yet, here they were, discussing human children, as if they were the galaxy's most terrifying anomaly. "Explain," Zelthrax demanded, his voice a guttural rumble that filled the dimly lit command room. A junior officer, a scrawny being named Piln, shuffled nervously. "Sir, it's the children, the human children. They have capabilities. Unpredictable, sir, and highly effective in causing disruptions." Zelthrax flicked a switch, illuminating the room with a holographic display of a human child. The child appeared innocuous, with large eyes and a mop of curly hair. This is what causes fear?" Pil nodded, his eyes wide. "Yes, Commander. There have been instances, documented instances," interrupted another officer, who brought up several files with a swipe of his hand. The files contained footage of human children in various scenarios. A child speaking multiple alien languages fluently, another manipulating advanced technology, and one calming a raging beast with a simple melody. "Their adaptability is beyond our understanding," the officer continued. "They learn and mimic at a frightening pace. And there's more. They possess what humans call imagination, which seems to fuel their unpredictability." Zelthrax leaned back, his thoughts racing. The Creel valued order and predictability. Anything that defied this was a threat, a variable that couldn't be controlled. "Is there any evidence of them using these abilities against us?" he asked, scanning the room. "Not directly, sir, but there have been incidents where human children were involved in diplomatic functions and caused chaos, unintentionally providing humans with diplomatic advantages." The room fell silent as the implications hung heavily in the air. Zelthrax's mind was a whirlwind of strategy and concern. If these children could wield such power without even being aware of it, what would happen if they were trained, if they were weaponized? "Surveillance," he finally said, his voice steady. "We increase surveillance on all human sectors. I want a detailed analysis of these children. How they learn, how they think, how they interact with their environment. We need to understand this power." Pil nodded, recording the orders. Zelthrax turned to the star map, plotting points across human territories. "And prepare a contingency plan, just in case. We must be ready for all possibilities." As the Creel fleet mobilized with renewed purpose across galaxies, human children continued to play, laugh, and explore, blissfully unaware of the stir they were causing among the stars. Their innocence and boundless curiosity, a stark contrast to the fear they unknowingly instilled in the hearts of the galaxy's mightiest warriors. The shimmering facade of the Intergalactic Council's headquarters on Xanthi Prime belied the tension that crackled within its opulent chambers. Today's session was an emergency convening, summoned under the guise of discussing trade tariffs, but the true agenda was far more pressing. The human children. Ambassador Thrylix, a revered figure among the Thrall, floated to the center of the council ring. Her tendrils glowed faintly as she accessed the datapad floating before her. "Esteemed members, we gather not just to discuss economics, but to address a burgeoning threat or opportunity, depending on perspective." Whispers circulated through the chamber as various species shifted, their unease palpable. Thrylix continued, "The human offspring exhibit abilities that defy our scientific understanding. They interact with their environment in ways that suggest advanced cognitive and emotional faculties at an early age. This imagination they wield reshapes reality around them, influencing events to their favor." A hush fell. Every member knew the gravity of such traits if left unchecked. Adoan, representing the mechanically enhanced Citari, clicked his metal fingers together. "Evidence suggests these capabilities could be exploited. Imagine fleets navigated by such intuition, negotiations swayed by such empathy. Or, conversely, imagine our secrets unraveled by their curiosity." A murmur of agreement swept through the delegates. Threlix nodded, her tendrils dimming slightly. The proposal is twofold. First, engage in subtle information exchange programs. Insert our own into human educational systems to study these phenomena up close. And the second? Inquired a gruff voice from the shadowy back, a Zerulean general. Second, we invite select human children to a series of intergalactic educational initiatives, ostensibly to foster peace and cooperation, but truly to monitor and perhaps even guide their development. The room pondered the dual-edged sword of such interactions. To educate was to influence, but also to risk being influenced. Silence lingered before the general spoke again, his tone wary. We must proceed with caution. These children could be as dangerous as they are advantageous. Our approach should be clandestine, ensuring our security isn't compromised. Threlix agreed. Discretion will be our guiding principle. We'll clothe our efforts in benevolence and scholarship, masking the surveillance beneath layers of diplomacy and academia. The council members cast their votes, the outcome unanimous. As they dispersed, each carried the weight of the decision differently. Some saw potential weapons, others saw potential bridges. All saw the unknown. Meanwhile, far from the polished halls of Xanthi Prime, on a small blue planet called Earth, a young girl named Emma built a makeshift communicator from spare electronics in her backyard. She aimed to reach her imaginary friend in the stars, unaware that the stars were indeed watching, plotting, and perhaps even fearing her next move. In the shadowed corridors of the Creel surveillance ship, hidden within the dark side of Earth's moon, Commander Zelthrax and his team watched intently as their screens flickered with scenes from a suburban school on Earth. Each child was under scrutiny, their daily interactions parsed for signs of the extraordinary. Zelthrax tapped his claw on the arm of his chair, focusing on one screen in particular. It showed a young boy, no older than 7, who had just solved a complex mathematical problem that stumped even the teachers. This one, monitor him closely. Increase data intake on his family and educational environment. His subordinate, a slender, green-skinned Nalrithian named Shira, nodded. She adjusted the sensors to capture deeper bio-readings and psychological patterns. Do we consider direct intervention? Not yet, Zelthrax replied sternly. The Council's directive was clear. Observe and learn. Any misstep could expose us. Shira turned to another screen, showing Emma from earlier, now at home working on her communicator. What about her? She seems to be reaching out. Zelthrax considered. If she becomes capable of actual contact, we intervene. Until then, we watch. Back on Earth, Emma's project began to emit a low hum, the lights flickering in a rhythmic pattern. Her eyes lit up with excitement. I think it's working, she exclaimed to an empty room, not realizing how close she was to an actual response. Meanwhile, across the galaxy in a plush office on Xanthi Prime, Ambassador Threlix reviewed the latest surveillance feeds provided by the Creel. The reports from Earth were intriguing, showing a range of abilities from problem-solving and emotional intelligence to what could only be described as rudimentary telekinesis. Threlix contacted Adoan via a secure communication link. The initial observations are promising. These children could indeed be the key to advancing our understanding of cognitive sciences. Adoan's mechanical voice was cautious. And if they learn of our surveillance? We ensure they do not. Our operatives are trained for invisibility. Besides, we're not the only ones watching. Indeed, Earth had become a focal point for various galactic powers, all intrigued by the potential of human children. Unbeknownst to the humans, their youngest were now subjects of a vast interstellar observation network. As night fell on Earth, Emma's communicator suddenly cracked with static. She jumped, her heart racing. A voice, distorted and barely audible, whispered through the static. Hello? Frozen, Emma stared at the device. She whispered back, Hello, who's there? The connection broke off as quickly as it had begun. Shaken, Emma wondered if she had imagined it all. In the moon's orbit, Zelthrax made a swift decision. Prepare an extraction team. It's time we took a closer approach. The line between observation and intervention was about to be crossed. driven by the dual forces of fear and fascination that these young humans inspired across the cosmos. On Earth, under the cover of night, a small elite team of Creel operatives assembled at the edge of a forest near Emma's home. Their technology rendered them virtually invisible, bending light around their forms as they moved silently toward the target. The leader, a seasoned officer named Grath, checked his communication device one last time before giving the signal to advance. Emma, still puzzled by the mysterious voice through her communicator, lay in bed unable to sleep. Her room was a mess of gadgets and gizmos, testament to her insatiable curiosity and intellect. Outside, the Creel team paused, using their scanners to ensure no human technology could detect their presence. Grath whispered into his mic, "Approach with caution. The child must not be alarmed." As they neared the house, Shira monitored from the ship, her screens flickering with data streams. She tracked the team's progress and kept an eye on the local communication networks to intercept any alarms. Inside, Emma's mind raced with possibilities about the voice. Could it have been an alien? Her heart pounded at the thrilling yet terrifying thought. Deciding she couldn't wait until morning, she slipped out of bed to tweak her communicator. Just as she adjusted the frequency, the Creel operatives made their entry. A silent distortion field enveloped the house, muffling any sound. Grath and two others slipped through Emma's window with the fluidity of shadows. Emma, absorbed in her task, didn't notice the figures until a hand, surprisingly gentle, touched her shoulder. She spun around, eyes wide, her scream stifled by the sudden realization that she was not alone. Grath spoke softly, his translator emitting a soothing tone. "Emma, do not fear. We need your help." Confused and scared, but also intensely curious, Emma stared at the beings before her. You're real?" "Yes," Grath replied, "and you are far more important than you can imagine." Meanwhile, Shira watched nervously as her readings indicated a spike in local electromagnetic activity. "Grath, be quick. It seems the human military satellites are recalibrating, likely due to her earlier transmissions." Acknowledging the urgency, Grath turned back to Emma. "We must go now, Emma. You must decide. Come with us and learn the truth about yourself and the universe, or stay and never know." Emma looked from her makeshift gadgets to the alien creatures. A million questions raced through her mind, but the allure of answers was irresistible. "I'll go," she breathed, her decision made not out of fear, but wonder. As they quietly exited the house and moved towards the extraction point, Emma's heart was a mix of fear and excitement. Above them, the Creel ship hovered silently, cloaked against the prying eyes of Earth's defenses. Back on Xanthi Prime, Ambassador Thrylix received the update with satisfaction. The human girl was now in their hands, a potential breakthrough in their understanding of human capabilities. But even as they departed Earth, Thrylix pondered the consequences of their actions. Humanity was not known to react kindly to interference, and the galaxy might soon learn why even human children were to be feared. Aboard the Creel ship, Emma was led through corridors that shimmered with an ethereal light, her mind reeling from the rapid shift in her world's reality. Grath, observing her awe, guided her gently but firmly. "This is just the beginning," he murmured, his voice resonant through the translator. Emma, surrounded by technologies and beings straight out of her wildest dreams, could only nod. Her fear was rapidly giving way to an insatiable curiosity. She was particularly fascinated by a panel showing a star map with numerous galaxies marked and annotated in alien script. Grath noticed her interest. "Your species has always looked to the stars, Emma. Now you're among them. You're here because we believe you can help us understand the potential your kind possesses." They entered a room that looked more like a classroom than anything else. Here, several other children from different parts of Earth were already seated, each looking as bewildered as Emma felt. A young boy from India, a girl from Brazil, and twins from Nigeria. They were all part of this strange new reality. Shira joined them, her demeanor softer than any of the others. "Children, we know this is difficult.
You've been brought here because each of you has shown abilities that surpass even our most advanced understanding. You are not prisoners. Think of yourselves as pioneers on the frontier of interspecies cooperation." The children exchanged nervous glances, the gravity of their situation settling in. Emma spoke up, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "What do you want from us?" "We want to learn," Shira explained. "And in return, we will share our knowledge. You will learn things about the universe that no other human knows." The session that followed involved tests, not the pencil and paper kind, but interactions with advanced technology that responded to cognitive and emotional input. Emma found she could manipulate holographic data with just a thought, while the Brazilian girl could communicate with the ship's AI using her mind. As the children demonstrated their abilities, Zelthrax observed from behind a one-way mirror. He spoke into a recorder. "Subject 1, Emma, shows remarkable adaptability and an intuitive understanding of quantum mechanics beyond her years. Potential for scientific breakthroughs is immense." Meanwhile, Earth was responding to the disappearance of several children. News outlets buzzed with theories and government statements, while covert operations began piecing together the anomaly of electromagnetic disturbances and eyewitness accounts of strange lights. Back on the ship, as the children began to trust their hosts, they shared their dreams and fears. Emma, connecting with the others, realized they were forming a bond, a makeshift family forged under the most extraordinary circumstances. They were scared, but also excited about what the future might hold. In a high-stakes gamble, the Creel had shown their hand to these human children, hoping to bridge a galactic divide. But as each day passed, the Creel too learned from the children, not just about their capabilities, but about their spirit, resilience, and the untapped potential of humanity. The gamble was beginning to look like it might just pay off for everyone involved. As the children on the Creel ship adapted to their new reality, the response from Earth was swift and multifaceted. Governments around the world, having confirmed the disappearance of these exceptional children through their own secretive channels, convened an emergency session of the United Nations Security Council. There, amidst a flurry of accusations and denials, a unified strategy began to take shape. General Carter, the U.S. representative, laid out the situation with stark clarity. "We have confirmed the extractions were not isolated incidents. Satellite imagery and electromagnetic residue point conclusively to non-Earth origin involvement. Our priority is recovery of the children and assessment of any potential threats." In a secure facility in Geneva, a team of the world's best cryptographers, astronomers, and exobiologists worked tirelessly. Their objective was clear: decode the intercepted communications between the alien ships and their home bases to track down the location of the children. Meanwhile, the news had reached the public. Social media was ablaze with speculation and concern, ranging from government conspiracies to alien invasions. Amid this chaos, a movement began, led by the families of the abducted children. They demanded transparency from their governments and urged peaceful contact with the aliens. Back on the Creel ship, the children were unaware of the turmoil they had left behind. They continued their interactions with the alien technology and mentors, making rapid advancements in their understanding and abilities. Emma, in particular, showed a profound capacity for synthesizing alien and human science, proposing theories that intrigued even her Creel teachers. Grath observed the progress with a mixture of pride and concern. "They are adapting faster than anticipated. Their potential is unlimited, but so is their capacity to disrupt." Shira, who had grown particularly fond of the children, especially Emma, shared these concerns. "They trust us now, but if they learn of the unrest on their home planet, it could change everything." Their discussion was interrupted by an alert. The ship's sensors had detected an anomaly, a coded message originating from Earth, directed at their current location in orbit. It was a simple repeating sequence that translated to a plea: "Return our children." Grath and Shira exchanged a look of alarm. The humans had managed to trace them, a feat they hadn't thought possible so soon. In response, the United Nations had launched their own diplomatic effort,
spearheaded by an envoy chosen for her experience with crisis negotiations. Ambassador Liu spoke directly into a broadcast intended to reach the Creel ship. "We seek a peaceful resolution. These children are precious to us, as I believe they are now to you. Let us meet, share knowledge, and solve this situation without conflict." As the message played out in the control room, the children watched, their faces a mix of hope and confusion. Emma stepped forward, her voice firm. "We need to go back. They need to understand. We're not just subjects to be studied. We can help both our worlds." The Creel, now faced with a decision, considered their next move. Cooperation with Earth was always a potential outcome, but the accelerated timeline forced their hand. Grath nodded slowly. "Prepare a message. We will arrange this meeting. It's time our two species truly learned from each other." The stage was set for an unprecedented interstellar dialogue, with the children at its heart. A dialogue that could either bridge two vastly different worlds or ignite tensions that would resonate throughout the galaxy. The proposed meeting, quickly termed the Galactic Summit by the media on Earth, was to be held in neutral space aboard the Harmonia, a massive space station designed for interstellar diplomacy and located at the crossroads of star systems. The Harmonia was chosen for its symbolic significance as a beacon of peace and cooperation, its vast halls having hosted numerous historic accords. On Earth, preparations were intense. The Security Council, in collaboration with various space agencies, organized a delegation that included top diplomats, scientists, and critically, the parents of the abducted children. General Carter, overseeing security for the delegation, emphasized the importance of a strong but non-aggressive posture. "We're going there to talk, but also to show that we protect our own," he briefed his team. Aboard the Creel ship, the mood was one of cautious optimism mixed with uncertainty. Grath briefed the children and their fellow Creel on the significance of the summit. "This meeting is not just about returning you to your homes. It's a beginning, potentially a new era for us all. Your insights and abilities will play a key role in how this unfolds." Emma, now seen as a leader among the children, spent hours discussing strategies with Shira and the other mentors. "We need to show them, both our peoples, that what we've learned can benefit everyone. We're not just kids anymore. We've grown beyond that." As the Harmonia loomed into view, a magnificent structure glowing against the backdrop of the void, both Earth's delegation and the Creel approached with their respective escorts, a fleet of diplomatic ships that shimmered like jewels in the dark. Ambassador Liu led the Earth contingent, her demeanor calm and professional. She was the first to step forward as the airlocks opened, extending a hand to Grath, who accepted it with a nod. "Commander Grath, thank you for this meeting. Let us hope it's the start of something good." The summit began with formal introductions and proceeded to a series of presentations. Emma and the other children shared their experiences, demonstrating their newfound abilities through controlled displays and detailed explanations. The Earth scientists presented their research, proposing collaborative projects that could explore the beneficial applications of these abilities, from medical advancements to technology enhancements. Grath and his team, in turn, shared insights into Creel technology that had enabled such rapid development in the children, offering blueprints and data for Earth scientists to study. As the talks progressed, a session open to the media allowed the children to address both their home planet and the galaxy. Emma spoke, her voice broadcast across countless worlds. "We were taken because we were different, but now we return with a message of unity and potential. We are more alike than we know, and together we can achieve wonders." The summit concluded with the signing of the Harmonia Accord, an agreement to establish an ongoing exchange of knowledge and resources between Earth and the Creel, with safeguards to protect the rights and well-being of all individuals involved. As the delegations prepared to depart, there were handshakes and even some embraces. Earth's people watched, their fears alleviated by the sight of their children, not only safe, but empowered. The Creel, for their part, had discovered in humanity an unexpected kinship, perhaps the beginning of a true cosmic fraternity. And as the ships departed, heading back to their respective worlds,
The stars seemed a little less distant, the future a little brighter, thanks to the courage and curiosity of a few remarkable children.